Hi there, I'm Matthew Ashley, and welcome to Doomsday, starring the planet who's getting burned right now. Let's jump into it. So, a lot of people don't like the environmentalist policies that some political parties support. What is anti-environmentalism? Well, Merriam-Webster dictionary can answer that. It's the opposite of environmentalism. No shit, Sherlock. Even I could have said that once I learned prefixes back in middle school. Goodness gracious. Anyways, Wikipedia has mentioned that it is usually defined as a movement that favors loose environmental policies in favor of economic benefit. Instead of caring about the planet, care about the dough, you know? What even is climate change? Do we even fucking know? Well, some of us do. I'm about to tell you. So, climate change is usually long-term impacts and shifts in weather patterns and just climate in general, aka climate change. Duh.
Wow!
However, since the 1800s, we have seen a lot of man-made climate change, also dubbed as global warming or whatever. And so we've seen a large amount of fossil fuels being burned and a lot of carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, methane, and other shit being thrown into our atmosphere. And as a result, things aren't looking too good for the planet. Well, what's going on? What's going on? What's happening? Well, the sea level's rising. Hear about that? Hear about that? You know, there's some places where people are evacuating every year or so because there's flooding, and the flooding is more prominent and in more places because of the sea level rise, because the ice caps are melting. Although you've heard about that, you've seen those pictures of the polar bears and shit. But what else is happening, you know? Do y'all remember, I'm ranting now, back in 2017, it was a huge year for hurricanes. There were 3 or 4 super big name hurricanes that hit Puerto Rico and stuff. Yeah, shit like that is happening because of climate change. At least it's happening more often and to more of a degree, extremity, if you will. And so we're seeing that with hurricanes, tornadoes. A bunch of shit is going down simply because Earth's getting hotter, you know? Earth's looking mighty fine, you know? You know what I'm saying, you know what Okay. So why doesn't the government help? Why doesn't the government do shit? Well, we've been asking that since the dawn of the government, but for the sake of this, you know? Well, the government doesn't do shit because of employment, you know? There was a Yale study that I'm going to mention later, and one of the states with the least concern about climate change is West Virginia, where they have plenty of coal and other fossil fuel-based industries, and that's where a large portion of employment comes from in that state. And so that is one of the big things that causes people to be anti-environmentalists, is if their employment and money relies on it. There's also corporate lobbyists, you know? People who walk up to Capitol Hill and say, hey, here's some money, don't do the shit we don't want, you know? People do that, I guess. And there's also partisanship, you know? Some political parties agree with these things more than others. There was the Inflation Reduction Act, I believe it was called, last year, that, alongside other things, needs to lower the greenhouse gases and shit by 2040, I believe. And so, how do people feel about global warming anyways, you know? We're talking about this. Do you care? Does anyone care? Well, apparently 2/3 of Americans kind of care. I mean, they say they're worried about climate change. And of course, I'm getting those numbers from a Yale study because Yale is legit, right? Right? Because they're college, right? Yeah? Anyways, so how do we do our part? How do we fix all of this? How do we move on from climate change? Well, we could do our part, and we can raise awareness for climate change. Call up your local senator and say, hey, don't let the planet go to shit. Fix it, you know? That's what they're there for. Be vocal about these issues. You know, these issues aren't just going to go away. And if people see that these issues are cared about, they're more likely to be addressed. And finally, I just say, show the government that we care. Because nothing's going to change. If they don't care, we don't care. No one cares. Nothing's going to happen. But if we show them, through our voice, through our actions, that this is an issue that needs to be addressed, then they might just help. Hopefully. Thanks for watching. See you next time.